Oops. Oh, geez. Now we have the dogs fighting. Okay. Perfect timing. Welcome, everybody. All right. Hey. Oh, God. Oh, God. Hello. All right. That's enough. That's enough. Get in there. Oh, my God. Mom's dog decides she's going to sleep under my desk. My dog gets pissed off. And then once my dog gets pissed off, Mom's dog then is in a flurry. So now she's not going to shut up. It's like, oh, my God. Anyway, welcome, everybody, to Fantasy Island. Oh, my God. Oh, it's always a dramatic moment. Mom's dog, of course, always waits to scream until literally I just get started. All right. Sorry, getting my TikTok rolling as well. There we go. Oh, my. Welcome. Oh, the dogs are fine. They just, they don't play nice. It's not a happy thing. Anyway, welcome, everybody. I'm going to wait a minute for folks to join in. I'm still using the new format, so hopefully this works. I think I'm getting it down. But other than on TikTok, the one thing which I put on here is that on TikTok, the new format doesn't allow the GIFs that go on my head and my glasses and things like that. It does allow the other GIFs, so hopefully folks keep giving those. Anyway, we'll wait another minute for other folks to come in, but I hope everybody's doing well. As always, didn't think we had a lot of news, and now there's a lot of news. Not the Queen. The Queen stuff I'll mention briefly, but Ukraine news, as always, wasn't out of control news, and now there's a ton, which is good. You can't see me on TikTok. Refresh the page because I pulled it up and it was right there. Just go onto my profile on TikTok. In my profile, you'll see live event. Click it and click watch, or maybe it goes live. It should go fine. That's how I got it. Anyway, sometimes TikTok doesn't show I'm live. Somebody taught me this before until you pull it down and it refreshes the screen. So that's a way it can do it. Anyway, welcome all. Oh, my. Yes, that was nice. So, yeah, just a recap. So yesterday was a lot of fun. We had Thomas Zimmer on, who's a professor from Georgetown. Very smart guy, very interesting guy. And talking about, MAGA extremism, but as he's a history professor, Thomas likes to really look at the origins of problems today and how basically they all go back to the past. So saying that, Republican extremism, MAGA extremism is not a new phenomenon. It may be a new phenomenon to the degree that Trump has expanded it. In any case, so very interesting with him. One other thing, I guess I'll do a little my housekeeping, as I'm calling it, for the beginning of the show. Make sure to follow and like if you would, please, because that's always a good thing and very helpful. I am going to have Matt Lewis will be our next guest in a week on September 14th. I think that's next Wednesday. Might be Wednesday. Matt's really interesting. Matt is, we're going to have sort of our Republican guest in a row thing, because Matt is a current Republican, not a fan of Donald Trump. Matt is a, kind of a Republican intellectual type. Matt has been writing for years about Republican politics. Good conservative, I would call him, but not a Trumper. And Matt has been very outspoken about Trump. He's one of the honest ones. So Matt will just be a really interesting guy to talk to, I think, about where things are right now, but also with the elections. And the other one is a good friend of mine that some people don't like that he is, but he is David Frum, who worked for George Bush. David has an interesting past because David is the one that allegedly coined the phrase axis of evil for George Bush. But David has been outspoken against Trump and really started taking on the Republican Party back in 2010 or so. He was taking on the Republicans for their opposition to Obamacare. And he started losing jobs and losing things he was doing because the Republicans didn't like it. So this is way before Trump. This is 6 years before Trump, or 5 years, that David was already making enemies among the Republicans. David is brilliant, fascinating. Anyway, David I love. So David's going to be coming on the 20th. And David will be at 6 p.m. Matt will be at 2 p.m. We'll talk more about this, but just to give you guys a heads up on that. So very interesting. And finally, I got a receipt for the howitzer that we are sponsoring. So that is one step closer, which is great. But they sent me a receipt and said, thank you for the money. We're working on it. So now they just have to get to the front and do all of that. So anyway. All right, let's jump in. Final thing I'll tell for the TikTokers, again, just so you guys know, and for the moderators, when I'm using this new format, which I really like because I can put sort of the schedule and that kind of stuff here, what we're talking about, the gifts work on TikTok, but the only gifts that don't work are gifts that'll go on my head. So the hats, the glasses, the Borg eyepieces, I call it, those don't work. All the other gifts work, but if it's a gift that literally will identify my head, it won't work. So please keep giving me gifts on TikTok. I love them, but avoid any of that stuff. I'm looking at the screen and seeing me go like this. That will make a nice screen capture. So Queen Elizabeth died today. She was 96 years old, reigned for 70 years, which is kind of amazing. What is just a quick, because it's all over the news and we're not here to talk about Queen Elizabeth, but how do you not mention it? Thank you for the flower over there. And but there was a story I heard today that was just wonderful. Queen Elizabeth meets Vladimir Putin in 2003. And the Home Secretary, I always forget what the Home Secretary is in Britain, but one of those big jobs, they have different names for everything. The Home Secretary's dog is there, and the dog starts barking at Putin. And Queen Elizabeth responds, "Dogs have interesting instincts, don't they?" Which, you gotta love. You gotta love. The other story, which I was not aware of, they had a royal watcher or some woman who's written books about the royal family on CNN a little bit ago. And she was telling about when Queen Elizabeth met George W. Bush, the president who was the son, right? So the president from 2001 to 2009, whatever, right before Obama. And she meets him. And at this point, it's like 1991 or so. So he wasn't involved in politics yet. He was not yet the governor of Texas. He was just the owner of the Texas Rangers or something, some Texas sports team. So he's wearing his cowboy boots and he's meeting the queen. And I guess they're inscribed with something. And she goes, "Oh, what is that inscription on your boots?" Like, what a thing to ask. And he turns, and my guess is he's joking. He turns and he goes, "It says, 'God save the Queen.'" Which he obviously was pulling her leg. And she looks at him and goes, "You're kind of the bad boy of the family, aren't you?" and he turns to her and says, "Every family's got one. Who's yours?" And at that point, Barbara Bush, the mother, jumps in and goes, "You don't have to answer that." But could you believe the mother looking at him go, "What are you doing?" Thank you for the September stuff on TikTok, by the way. But could you imagine Barbara Bush especially being like, Barbara afterwards slapped him. But I love that though. I love her looking at him going, "You're kind of the bad boy, aren't you?" Or I think she said the black sheep or the bad boy. I think she said the black sheep, actually, even more so. She goes, "You're kind of the black sheep of the family, aren't you?" And of course he was, back then he was George. But anyway, made me laugh. Okay, so Ukraine, lots of interesting updates on what's going on there. First, let me tell you about southern Ukraine, just because there was a quick little update on CNN in one of the articles. Just to give you sort of a recap of where things are, okay? We were expecting a big counteroffensive happening in Ukraine. We were expecting it to be happening, especially in Kherson, which is a region in southern Ukraine. Okay, my allergies are going nuts today. A region in southern Ukraine. And the Ukrainians did start an attack there about a week ago, maybe a little over a week ago. Well, we'd been expecting this for a good 6 weeks, 8 weeks now. And in response, the Russians have been moving troops from eastern Ukraine and northeastern Ukraine to Zaporizhia, which is another province. They're right next door to each other. Crimea is here, Kherson right north of Crimea, Zaporizhia right here next to Kherson. So the Russians who were in the east were getting worried, and they started moving troops and military equipment to Zaporizhia and Kherson because they were getting ready for the big counteroffensive, right? Well, what happens? Ukraine starts the counteroffensive. We still don't know if it's a big counteroffensive or not, right? Whether this is the big one or whether they're still sort of shaping the battlefield for the big one coming in the fall. Who knows? But while Ukraine is doing this, Ukraine suddenly, while it's now causing trouble in the south, right? And remember how Ukraine was also blowing up all those airfields in Crimea 2 weeks ago, right? So Ukraine is, I compare it to Lord of the Rings, if you ever watched Lord of the Rings, but the Eye of Sauron is looking at Kherson and Crimea. And in the meantime, Frodo Zelensky is over in eastern Ukraine causing all sorts of hell the last couple of days. And Putin and the Russians are now like, what? Totally freaked them out. The Ukrainians have made incredible gains reportedly in the Northeast, and the Northeast especially. This is around Kharkiv. Again, when I get back to DC, I'll have my sort of handy dandy map I can show you guys again. Still in Chicago for another week or so. But Kharkiv is the second largest city of Ukraine in the Northeast, near the Russian border. And the Ukrainians are fighting kind of southeast of there in that region. And they've freaked the Russians out. The Russian military bloggers, who are the usually former Russian military folks who are blogging publicly on social media systems like Telegram and things like that, they're freaking out. I mean, the quote was, they're in panic mode about how badly things are going for the Russians. The Ukrainians have reportedly liberated at least 20 towns at least. And this is just in the east around Kharkiv, south of Kharkiv. I'm going to tell you in a minute why this matters and how well it's going, citing some other sources. But I wanted to show you two videos first. One video first. This was just kind of neat because I saw it a minute ago. I don't know what town this is in. This is somewhere in northeastern Ukraine, one of the many cities just liberated by the Ukrainians. But it was neat because people were comparing it online to the Iwo Jima Memorial, which is a very famous American photograph and memorial. Hold on. I normally don't. I'm trying to avoid doing this on my phone since I've got this now, but Iwo Jima photo is a famous photograph from World War II. Here we go. And it ended up becoming a famous U.S. war memorial. Right, they're putting the flag back up. It might have been staged. It might not. But on Iwo Jima in the Pacific. And this was the Ukrainians raising their flag, and others were making a comparison to it. Just kind of nice. I just liked it. It was kind of nice. And I've got another video to show you in a second of one of the towns that was liberated, and the old women coming out of their homes and thanking the soldiers. And it's in Ukrainian, but some folks translated a good amount of it on TikTok. So at least I know a couple phrases. I can tell you what was said. So southern Ukraine. First, let's talk about southern Ukraine briefly, and then we'll talk about the east, which is where the good stuff is happening. So southern Ukraine around Kherson, CNN just wrote today, 1 week into a new counteroffensive, Ukrainian forces are making gains in the south with the ambitious goal of taking back most of the Russian-occupied region of Kherson by the end of the year, according to senior U.S. officials and Ukrainian officials. So, again, to give you the timetable, right? To the degree the Ukrainians are making a big push in the south, they're hoping to get that one province by the end of the year. There still is the province next to it, Zaporizhia. There's still the two provinces in the east, Donetsk, which thank you for the Aflac duck. Donetsk, which the Russians control maybe half. Luhansk, right next to it, that the Russians control almost all of it. So this war is not, at least the current timing of it, is not going to be over anytime soon, but going well. Now, eastern Ukraine, let me read a little bit. This is from General Hertling, who's the former American general. He was the head of the U.S. Army in Europe, who's very good. And Hertling said, over the past 48 hours, Ukraine brilliantly, this is in the east, brilliantly executed a relatively small-scale armored attack that will reap gains in Kharkiv Oblast. They regained key terrain that will affect Russian supply routes, with the added benefit of depleting Russian units and overall morale. Well done. Now, what couple different things. Institute for the Study of War, which is a big defense think tank in Washington, D.C., very well respected. They said that they don't think what's going on in the East means that what was going on in the South in Kherson was a feint. In other words, the South wasn't a bluff. That's what at least Institute for the Study of War and the other experts are saying. The stuff going on in the South is real. The Ukrainians are trying to liberate Kherson. They are first going after the town of Kherson, which is north and west of the river Dnipro, so that they can actually isolate Russian troops there, about 20,000 troops. So they definitely are trying to do that. But it was not just a bluff. Having said that, the Ukrainians very smartly knew that the Russians were getting worried. Thank you for the butterflies. Were getting worried and starting to move their troops from the east, troops and the weapons, to Zaporizhia, to Kherson, so that if the Ukrainians would make an attack in the east, which they just did, the Russians wouldn't be prepared, not only not prepared in expecting it, but they would have far fewer troops and far fewer heavy equipment, tanks, etc., to deal with it. So that's the first thing, very smart of them. Thank you for the origami. A little more here. Okay, so one big town that's being mentioned today, and I grabbed a bunch of notes on this because it kept coming up, and I was sort of curious as to why it mattered, you know? Okay, well, you know what? Sorry, somebody's posting BS about, hi, everybody, I'm cancer and I'm dying and I want your money. Bye-bye. That's because that isn't true. That's why I'm saying bye-bye. So the town is Balaklia. And the town of Balaklia in eastern Ukraine was liberated by all accounts. And apparently it is a very strategically significant town. Now, let me read you a little bit about why it was significant. Oh, actually, this is Balaklia. Let me show you this first. Thank you for the little green cactus. This video I have of the women saying thank you is Balaklia. I'll tell you right now, and again, I don't really speak Ukrainian, but some folks translated it. They're thanking the troops. The men are saying, no, you're very welcome, but keep hidden for a while. Like, don't go outside your homes thinking you're okay. It's still dangerous. And the women keep trying to feed the troops, the Ukrainian troops. They're offering them food. And the soldiers are like, no, maybe later. So watch this. It's really adorable.
Все добре, все добре.
Молодці! Ми коліну переформували сьогодні.
Дякую вам, дякую.
Молилися, щоб ви до нас повернулися. Сил не було. Діти тут ще з нами, внуки мої. Я так вас нікуди, що ви до нас прийшли.
Ви на всяк випадок все посидіть, будь ласка, в підвалі, будь ласка, тому що може бути ще обстріли. Но ми вже тут, вже все добренько.
Спасибо, мальчики.
Ні, там вже все.
На салаті осталися. Будете?
Трішечки пізніше.
I just love that. Not even speaking Ukrainian, you can tell, I mean, the sort of the tears of joy coming from these women, you know. And thank you, by the way, for that little party favor that went off in the middle of it. I don't know if you guys can get sound otherwise, but I thought that was really nice, you know. So here's the deal with Balaklia, which I think is that town that you just saw the women from. It is an important, actually, it's funny. Eric is just weighing in on Facebook, and he is correct. It is an important road and railroad junction connecting multiple key cities in eastern Ukraine. There is a river that runs through the city with bridges that are critical for movement and defense. Actually, this analysis is coming from General Hertling, the American general I was telling you about earlier, retired general. So there's a river that runs through the city with bridges that are critical for movement and defense. There are also Russian ammunition dumps there, ammunition storage. And as Russia has been using the railroads and roads to ship logistics forward. In other words, there's Russian ammunition storage there because the Russians have been using the key intersection of the railroads and the key intersection of the roads to use that as a central point to get their ammunition to their troops. So the idea of taking that town is bad news for the Russians. Finally, he says, Russia thought their defenses there were pretty strong. Just to add that this caught Russia totally off guard. One of the things I was reading was the Russians, I'm forgetting the term that they were using for this, tank trap or something like that. But basically, it's something on the order of 15 tanks or something like that that was able to just bust through the Russian lines and bust through so quickly that the Russians had a hard time even responding, because by the time they were trying to respond, the tanks were far gone. The little bit here, okay, this is New York Times. Ukrainian efforts around Balaklia could have repercussions for Russian logistics in the area of Izium, a city about 40 miles southeast of Kharkiv. Logistics, again, means supplies, basically. Food, water, gasoline, diesel fuel, artillery, shells, right? Replenishing weapons, things like that. So taking this town could have repercussions for Russian logistics in the area of Izium, a city about 40 miles southeast of Kharkiv, as well as in towns and villages along a jagged front line between the two. Moscow has used Izium as a base for its broader attack on the Donbas region, which is the eastern region, where separatists backed by Moscow have fought Ukrainian forces since 2014. So the Russians have used Izium as their like really central point, and this town of Balaklia is sort of key to Izium. So kind of the big question comes now, is Izium next? So it varies, and again, very smart of the Ukrainians, because they're being tactically really smart. They're not just talking about taking back land. They're taking back key land that's going to screw the Russians in terms of the Russians' bigger objective, which was taking eastern Ukraine. So pretty cool. Secretary Blinken, American Secretary of State, is in Kyiv today, and he said that he's going to notify Congress to make a further $2.6 billion with a B available to bolster Ukraine's security and its neighbors. So it's not just money going to Ukraine, but it's money that would go for a lot of the neighbors in the region as well. In terms of I'll get to the U.S. There is a specific aid package announced today, too, that I'll get to. NATO defense ministers and members of NATO defense ministers who are members of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, which is a coalition of 50 countries that are helping Ukraine with military humanitarian aid, met on Wednesday in Germany. This is the group that was set up a few months ago as an ongoing once-a-month get-together of basically defense ministers, defense secretaries, to see where they are and see what else Ukraine needs and coordinate all of it, because, of course, you don't want Ukraine getting, right, from 30 different countries or 27 different countries getting all sorts of different things. It gets confusing, right? Britain has sent a second round of armored multiple launch rocket system vehicles, as well as guided artillery rockets, according to Secretary Austin, who's our Secretary of Defense. He said that Ukrainian forces now have, and this is what's important, Ukrainian forces now have 26 advanced rocket systems between the multiple launch rocket system, the MLRS, and the HIMARS, which we've talked a lot about, the high mobility artillery rocket system, that have already been supplied. So that's nice, because I think the HIMARS, they've got 16 or 20. I think they've got 16. I don't think we've given them 20 yet. And the MLRS are very similar to the HIMARS in many ways. So the combination of them is really, I mean, that now we're getting to some real numbers, which is very good for Ukraine, the 26. Also, I had read that we are, and actually I'll read the aid package below here in a second for any of you who are sort of military geeks, so you know what's included. But I had read that we are providing more precision-guided missiles, which is a big deal because they're GPS guided and everything else. And basically, the one quote I saw, I copied it, was something to the effect of, it's like firing a sniper gun at 20 miles or 40 miles away, because it's so precise. And with this, they are able to, with these precision guided weapons, they're able to fire them from like the MLRS or the HIMARS, but they were saying, for example, they can not just hit a building, they can hit an office in the building. They can target a window in the building with this from, again, 20 miles away or further, which is amazing, right? Rather than with artillery in general, you get close, but you're not going to be targeting that. The other thing that was interesting, again, I have this on my phone, but I don't have it in my notes, but I remember from reading it earlier. Another thing that was interesting is, if you've got much better precision guided weapons, then you can also risk getting closer to your troops. So if the Ukrainians are fighting the Russians, right, near a front, you can risk hitting the Russians even if the Ukrainians are nearby, because your weapon is so precision guided that there is just not much of a risk anymore of, oh, I meant to hit you, but I got off course and hit you, the Ukrainians. So if the weapon's really precise, it allows you to use it in a situation where the Russians and the Ukrainians are fighting close by and know that you won't hit the Ukrainians. Whereas with traditional weapons, you just couldn't use it. You couldn't risk it. Some of you guys are weighing in. Raymond was saying pretty much they're very similar. Okay, thank you. That's what I was figuring from what I was reading. So the new U.S. aid package, I'll read you some of the details. Additional ammunition for the HIMARS, 455 millimeter. Oh, I read this too. 455 millimeter howitzers and 36,105 millimeter artillery rounds. Now, from what I read about the 105 millimeter howitzers, these are smaller and more agile so that they can fire and get out of the way and get them out of the way, right? So they fire this gun and move it before the Russians have time to fire back, because that's one of the big things with artillery is you don't want to be sort of sitting in one space after you fire, because the Russians will figure out where it came from, and then plug it into their machine and it fires back. So they're more mobile and more quick, which is why those are really useful for sort of hit and runs. Additional high-speed anti-radiation missiles, HARM missiles, 100 armored Humvees vehicles, 1.5 million rounds of small arms ammunition, more than 5,000 anti-armor systems, 1,000 to 155 millimeter rounds of remote anti-armor mine systems, additional grenade launchers, 50 armored medical treatment vehicles, night vision devices, etc. And this was this is also General Hertling's take on the weapons the U.S. is providing. Again, I like sort of former American general, very bright guy, retired. Hertling says, this is what I was just telling you. I did have it in my notes. The 405 millimeter howitzers are lighter for faster movement, and there's opportunity for more ammunition from stocks. More HIMAR pods are critical. Again, I don't have the details on why, but if any of you are more militarily inclined, the HARM missiles help counter Russian air defense radars, helping Ukraine's air force. The Humvees and mobile ambulances contribute to rapid maneuver. Anti-armor systems, things like Javelin and tow missiles or tow rockets are needed against Russian armor. And the Rams, I'd looked at this. What were the Rams? The Rams help block Russian movement. The Rams, I think, are the mine systems. Yes, the Rams are the remote anti-armor mine systems. So there you go. So anyway, he says this was a really good deal. Norway is going to send another 160 Hellfire missiles to Ukraine. I just wanted to give Norway credit too. There is news on the Zaporizhia front, not great. The Zaporizhia nuclear reactor. So Zaporizhia, boy. This is another one of those stories that I remember a couple days ago, actually. The Russians probably, obviously it was probably them, hit an electrical power line, and the Ukrainians were reliant on just one final reactor. The plant has 6 reactors for the power, and it was kind of getting confusing as to what was going on. Finally, they're explaining this a little better. This was in today's New York Times. Ukrainian engineers at the country's largest nuclear power plant are relying on its one active nuclear reactor to run the station's critical safety and cooling systems. So in other words, the nuclear reactors use water coolant, for the cooling, for the nuclear rods that are actually in the reactor that cause the nuclear fission, and they also use water to cool spent rods as well. Less risky, the spent rods. So those systems, the cooling systems with the water to keep the plant from melting down, are contingent on that one remaining reactor. Normally, you'd have all 6 reactors. It wasn't a risk. You got one reactor left that they're using, so that's why it's so important. Now, it has never been attempted before for more than a few hours to have the entire cooling system dependent on only one remaining reactor. They've only done it for a few hours. They've never done it for several days, which is what has been happening right now. The Zaporizhia nuclear power plant has been using this has been using this measure of the one plant since it was disconnected from the external power grid on Monday, leaving diesel generators as the last fail-safe, a risky situation in a war zone where fuel supplies could be compromised. So what that means is currently you've got the one remaining nuclear reactor, all the other ones are offline apparently, as providing the electricity for the coolant systems to stop a meltdown. If that reactor goes down, then you're going to have to use diesel engines, diesel generators that take diesel fuel, literally like 20 diesel generators, and they've got to keep topping them off with fuel. And if they don't have fuel, the generators go down, and you get a meltdown. So they're saying that is a clearly very risky situation. There are 20 diesel generators at the plant with enough fuel to keep the cooling system at all 6 reactors and the spent fuel pools running for 10 days. How's that for scary too? So they got enough fuel for 10 days, which sounds good, but it ain't that good because they're in a war zone, right? Up. TikTok just crashed. Don't do that to me. Oh, it just crashed on TikTok. Son of a bitch. Well, we'll see if it picks up again. We'll see. I don't know that it's going to start. Oh, it did start. Oh, maybe it started. TikTok's funny though. Let me know actually for the TikTok thing. Can somebody check out if TikTok died? It died for a minute, but it came back on my end, but the comments aren't back, which makes me think TikTok died. I don't think I can start it again. Maybe. Can one of you guys check? I think, oh yeah, that stopped. Okay, TikTok stopped. Let me look at this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just start TikTok. I'm going to start it again on TikTok. No internet connection. There's an internet connection. Hang on, guys, 1 second. TikTok died because TikTok's being evil. Let me just, here we go, connect my Wi-Fi. I'm just going to do it on my iPad. We'll survive. This is where the professionals come. I know the KGB came after me. Honest to God. Hang on. Make sure my internet is still live. Well, my internet's live because you guys are still there. Okay, come on. Sorry, just waiting for my unable to join. Well, I know my internet's going because you guys are here. There we go. Okay, let me start TikTok. All right. Tiki-taki. All right, sorry guys for the delay. I will put on my TikTok microphone. Boom. Why are you saying there's no internet? Oh my God. Sorry, TikTok's being evil. 1 second, guys. It's claiming there's no internet, but of course I'm literally looking at the internet. Looking at it right now, TikTok. All right, hold on. I'm going to change back and forth really quick. I hate to give. Now that's really funny. Is TikTok down? I'm live on TikTok? It's not live on TikTok. I'm not live on TikTok. It literally disconnected. I'm watching it. Is it still? I am still live. Okay. I'm not going to worry about it. Very weird. That is hilarious. Okay. As long as it's live, I'll believe it. It's when I sort of click to, that is so bizarre. Okay. All this time I'm worrying about it. See, on my end, it's claiming the event has ended, but okay. Okay. Because I can't get back in to see it. It says the event ended. Oh, let me do one more refresh. Hold on. Sorry, guys. We have these little issues sometimes, as you well know. There's a little bit of a TikTok glitch going on, isn't there? It's a TikTok glitch. Yeah, it's TikTok. Yeah, because I just pulled up. Well, you're watching it live, folks. There is a TikTok meltdown. Yeah. Wow. I can't click any links that you guys give me here. TikTok's down. You know why? Because I'm pulling up my backup page, and my backup page on TikTok, the profile isn't loading. My followers aren't loading. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm just going to keep talking to you all, which I still love you all anyway. How annoying that is. That's very strange. Okay. Well, I'm not going to worry about it. Let me keep going. So Oh yeah, so the generators. Anyway, very scary on the generators with all of that. Boy, TikTok, scary. Somebody's mad at TikTok. Maybe the Russians got mad at it, or the Chinese. I don't know. TikTok is down at the moment. Some people are saying it's down, but for me, I can't access it. Okay, we'll let it go. Let it go. If TikTok comes back for the rest of us, that would be lovely. If not, c'est la vie. So the Russians are forcibly conscripting men in the Kharkiv area still. Ukraine's general staff reported on September 8th that Russian troops forcibly conscripted men from the occupied parts of Kharkiv Oblast. Men of conscription age are detained and sent to Vovchansk, the so-called recruitment center. In other words, the Russians are forcing Ukrainians to join the Russian army and fight Ukrainians. I mean, how screwy is that? How freaking screwy is that? These people. Really kind of amazing. Hold on a second. I'm gonna even close my TikTok app and come back. I mean, again, this thing potentially could stream to TikTok, but tip top. All right. Sorry, hold on, guys. All right, here we go. I had to exit the app and come back. One quick second, and then I will stop fitzing with this. Oh yeah, it's not even showing me the live to even watch it. Okay, I can't even access my live on TikTok, which is really annoying. All right, enough of the tip top. Enough of the tip top drama. TikTok, as we Greeks we say, nah. All right, 3 more collaborators have been blown up in Melitopol. The local mayor reports explosions at 3 collaborators' homes. These are Ukrainians who are working for the Russian occupiers. Explosions at 3 of their homes in Russian-occupied Melitopol. No word on how they're doing. Poland and the Baltic states, which would be Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, have clamped down on Russian visas, which is pretty cool. The Poland and the Baltic states are going to limit entry of Russians with Schengen visas starting September 19th. Schengen visas, basically, and you probably heard about this in general, but the European Union, one of the benefits of it is this sort of Schengen zone. And the Schengen zone is a visa to one is a visa to all, basically, so that, you know, when if I got a visa to go, not a visa, but if I entered Greece, I can, for example, they check my passport when I enter Greece as an American. When I flew from Greece to France, I was internally. France didn't need to check my passport. It was considered a domestic flight to fly from Greece to France. So that's what the Schengen zone is. So what the Baltic states said and Poland said, you know, we don't care if France and Germany and everybody else who is refusing to restrict visas to Russians, we don't care if they are willing to give Russians visas. We're not, and we're going to cut back significantly on the visas the Russians are getting. Now, specifically, the Baltic states and Poland will introduce severe entry restrictions for Russian citizens with Schengen tourist visas, regardless of the country in which they were issued. The Estonian, this was pretty good. This is the last story, but this is pretty good. The Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas, who's been really outspoken about the Russians, said on September 8th, as reported by the Estonian broadcaster, exceptions will be made for those visiting family members, dissidents, and resident permit holders, she said. Estonian Foreign Minister Urmas Reinsalu called on Russian citizens not to come to Estonia even before the restrictions enter into force. Quote, "You are not welcome here." It's like, bam. I mean, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. All right. So that's what I've got. I'm kind of amazed TikTok's still working because I can't even get into TikTok to even see it. So who knows? All right, that's what I've got for this. Yeah, the TikTok thing, well, other people's lives are still working. I don't know, guys. That's really freaking weird, though. I'm gonna take a screen cap of this and try to let the TikTok gods know. Oops. 1 second here. I was gonna grab a screen capture because also it's not even loading the whole screen for me. That is just weird. So wait, are there only 4 people on TikTok, you're saying? Kevin? Oh, well, Facebook's always a small number. Facebook's always a small number. But wow, this is crazy. Sorry, I'm still like kind of looking here at what's going on. Yeah. Oh well. Oh well. All right. Yeah, TikTok is always trippy. Let me look one more time at my. Anyway, we'll do Q&A now. I don't want to like lose everybody here, especially on TikTok. You TikTok folks are so fidgety sometimes. Hang on, just looking at my. See now, but for me, I can tell it's very slow though. It's even giving me a hard time switching between my profiles. Now, the live event, I'm going to click go live and let's see what happens. Let me see what happens. I'm clicking go live on TikTok. All right. All right. Well, I don't know if it says I'm live. It's 590 are watching. I just clicked go live. I'm live again. Oh, that's crazy. Well, I'm live twice on TikTok, so who knows? Hi, everybody on TikTok. We have no idea what's going on. All right. Well, I just clicked to go live again, so am I live twice now? I have no idea. Oh, TikTok. Oh, TikTok. Hello, guys. Lots of weird stuff happening on TikTok. I'm not going to plug in my microphone on TikTok, but I'm hoping you can get the mic pretty well, even though it's through my iPad. Well, I can plug it in again. I don't know what's going. A lot of weird stuff going on TikTok, which is crazy. I can't. Hold on, folks. You TikTokers, I'm doing this through my iPad now just to be safe. TikTok started melting down and it's not clear why. So weird things were happening. TikTok's been locking up all day, says Jeff Morrison. Oh, that's interesting, Jeff. Thanks. Yeah, I think TikTok's having some issues today. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Well, anyway, glad that came back. Hello, TikTokers. All right, guys. So let's do the questions like we always do. What was I going to say? Yeah, for TikTok, you guys know how to do it. Do the profile Q&A for TikTok if you can. Yeah, the Q&A section in my profile for putting questions. And for the rest of you, obviously, feel free to use the comment box and all. So let's just jump into this. I will look here. Quick peek on Discord for potential explanation. I'm not sure what that means. Oops, lots of phone calls here. There we go. All right, let me pull up TikTok on my phone so I can at least pull up questions here. Oh, well. Yeah, let me see here. Well, there's a good question. So Felix is asking, how do they check if Russians want to visit their families? And what about Russians traveling from Germany to Poland, for example? They likely won't be controlled because there are no border guards. Oh, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Huh. Yeah, thanks, Jessica. Yeah, because you're right. How would they know? You're right, because if it's Schengen, if you're coming from a Schengen country, then there is no border control. So if the Russians go to Germany first and then, take a plane to Estonia, how do they even know? Because they're not checking anything at the border. That's a really good question. I don't know. There are border guards, but they don't check everyone. Okay. I don't know. That is interesting. I don't know. That's very weird. Yeah, I don't know, Felix. That's really interesting. Yeah. Well, they've got some plan in place, clearly. Anyway, I know TikTok was doing weird stuff today. Let me pull up TikTok here. My TikTok. What else was I going to tell you? There was something else. I don't remember what else I was going to tell you guys. Have you heard about the politicians from St. Petersburg trying to get rid of Putin because they say he's a traitor or so? Yeah. That weird Russian woman on TikTok reported on it, which, whatever. I mean, the whole thing sounds very weird. They'll be dead in a day. If that's what they're doing, if they're trying to take up Putin on charges of treason, they're not going to be around for long. That's for sure. So heard about it, but in Russia, that doesn't get you very far. Any news as to how King Charles views Putin, the war, Britain's involvement? That's an interesting question. I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I have no idea. I have no idea. Does anybody know? Prince Charles? Well, he's not going to, I mean, Charles won't have a say in the war, but I mean, I guess that's part of the question too, right? I mean, the British Prime Minister, the British royalty, what influence do they really have nowadays, Oh, Sasha, hold on. Oh my gosh. I've still got my dog's cone of shame on, so she's trying to scratch her ears and I feel good. That's the question. Yeah, poli-sci history guy saying the relevance. Good point. I mean, I'm just not sure, but what influence is he really going to have, And yeah, Nina's saying the royal family stays out of war and politics. Yeah. Stephanie Powers, my husband booked us a trip to Sunny Isle Beach. I've never heard of it. So I was reading about it, mostly Russian population. I don't even know where it is. My live has crashed, except that, well, that's the old live. I've got the other live going live on TikTok right now. So the other live is actually live. So if the live isn't there, go to my TikTok profile, scroll down so it pull down so it refreshes, and you should see the new live, or look for my profile picture with the circle around it, whatever it is. Just touch my profile picture because I'm live on TikTok and I'm watching comments. Hello, TikTokers. So it's there. Oh, Miami area. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Charles is extremely involved in environmental protection. We will see England become even more involved in that. That's good. That's good. King Charles III, exactly. Charles III has no policy role. Okay, so we're less worried about that. Yeah, TikTok. Thank you, Jesse. Well, see, or Messy. See, when we're doing it this way on TikTok, where I'm doing it via you guys directly on my iPad, you can do the GIFs on my head and everything. But the GIFs on my head and my eyes don't work when I'm doing it via the other system where it puts the cool things, the stuff on the screen, the title. Whenever I do that, you can do all the GIFs that aren't headgear and glasses and stuff. But now feel free to do all the GIFs on TikTok because it died. So now I'm using regular TikTok on my iPad. What else we got? 5:48. We got another 12 minutes here. Do you feel we are headed in the right direction to have accountability? Ha ha ha. This might be from yesterday. I mean, it sure seems, this is the Trump stuff. So far, we seem to be headed into the right direction for accountability. Thank you for the hat and mustache there, Louis. I worry about it, though. Hey, Boogie. I am a longtime political guy in Washington, D.C. If you want, maybe after this or whenever, I actually, in response to questions like yours, I did a longer video about my background, and it is one of the pinned videos in my profile at the top where I say, who am I? And actually that one in particular, I was responding to questions about Afghanistan. So I've got a long foreign policy expertise and all sorts of, you can watch the video, but suffice it to say, foreign policy guy, long time DC. Oops, let me see what else we got here. What else we got here? Oops. But yeah, guys, you can go to the Q&A in my profile and submit questions. So for the TikTokers, okay, if you go to the profile, see the thing that says, oops, I've got to, hold on. Let me reverse this. There we go. So if you see that, you see Q&A there. That Q&A in my profile is how you submit questions, and it's a much easier way. I can still try to read stuff here, but it's not necessarily as good. Well, Crimea is interesting. Somebody, Jonathan is asking, do you think Crimea will be next in terms of the next thing the Ukrainians go after? So interesting thing on that front, okay? The Ukrainians put out a message like last night warning, I'm going to see if I retweeted this, warning the Russians in Crimea and saying, you better start swimming Like it was a very weird cryptic message suggesting that the Ukrainians were about to do something really nasty in Crimea. Hold on, let me find this. Oh my God. Okay. Jeez. There you go. Let me see if I didn't retweet it. I've got, oops, where's General Hertling? General Hertling, General Hertling, General Hertling. It's in General Hertling's thing. I don't have it, but they did a really interesting, weird kind of threat that I thought was really fascinating. Hang on. I'll stop looking in a second if I can't see it now. No, I don't see it. I don't see it handy. No, don't see it handy in any case. But yeah, so the Ukrainians put out a really weird kind of threat to the Russians in Crimea and basically said, hope you know how to swim. Oh, was the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense? Okay, that's it then. Yeah, it was a very weird and very interesting, but part of me wonders, I'm going to look again and see if I can find it. Part of me wonders if it's not, a little bit of disinformation again from the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. Are they trying to confuse the Russians? Especially keep in mind, especially since we know the Ukrainians have been very careful. Oh, hold on. I'll just Google it. Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. Hold on. Because the Ukrainians have been so careful. Ministry of Defense, Twitter. The Ukrainians have been so careful about not letting the Russians know what they're doing in terms of their operations that the fact that the Ukrainians would say we're going after Crimea makes me wonder, would they be going after Crimea or as Paw Prince says, PSYOPs, which is psychological operations, psychological warfare. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Oop, they may tweet too much here, these Ukrainians, for me to pull it up. I'll only look for another minute or two, but all right, I'm going to give up. Oh, here we go. Here we go. The weather forecast says it is going to be very hot in Crimea. It's time for the Russian invaders to prepare for a swim. It takes a lot of strength to swim to Sochi or Yeysk, which is in Russia. By the way, the Guinness Book of World Records may include a new record for the longest open water swim. So they're clearly, they're clearly pushing it. We'll see what happens. Very interesting. What do I think? I see we've got the crazy Russian. Oh, the Russian trolls are coming. Oh, hi, Russian troll. Hi, Russian troll. Sorry. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I doubt the Duma will try to put Putin on trial. I doubt that. He'd have their heads. Yeah. I doubt it. I wouldn't look forward to anything like that. I mean, it'd be great if they did, but again, doubt that's happening. Oops. Blowing up the bridge, perhaps. Where was that? What else we got here? What else we got here? Oh, thank you for the dog there. Oh, the corgi, huh? And Queen Elizabeth and the corgis. They also warned civilians in Crimea to build bomb shelters. Ow. Ow. Let me see. Yeah, the crowning for Charles is happening on Saturday, I believe. It's called the Ascension. I was watching. Zelensky must attend the funeral of the Queen. He can't afford to leave the country, though. Not in the middle of all of this. He can't, Oops. All right. King George. Yeah, George III. Yes, George III. We remember him well. That's for sure. Let me see. Another question here on TikTok, maybe. Yeah, guys, remember, put your questions in the Q&A. I can try to look on the screen, but where is this? If if Ukraine gets the longer HIMARS rockets, would they take out the Kerch Bridge? Well, somebody was saying yesterday or the day before, actually, that apparently it's so hard to take out the bridges that it wouldn't be worth it. They were saying that it would take like 20 HIMARS strikes to try to take out the bridge, and it just wouldn't be worth it in terms of the ammunition it would be taking. So, now, having said that, I still wonder about 20 versus the benefit of cutting off the Russians from Crimea. Having said that, there's an issue as to, even if the Ukrainians were to cut them off, would it be permanent, or would it just take the Russians a couple days in order to be, but would it just take the Russians a couple days to repair the bridge, right? I mean, that's a big problem right there. So I think Ukraine will blow up the Nord Stream if the war takes a turn for the worst. No. The only way I see Ukraine blowing up the Nord Stream is if literally Europe just says, screw you, we'll let the Russians take you over. We don't care anymore. Then Ukraine would say, well, you know what? If you don't care, I don't care. But I mean, I just don't see it getting to that point. Thank you, Angie. I don't see it getting to that point. I just don't. Yep, what else we got here? What do we got here? Lots of people have automatically unfollowed me on TikTok. Jesus Christ. I swear to God, the problems these people have. Jesus Christ. So many problems with that app. Ugh. Yeah, I don't get it. Really annoying me. Did I read the Filatiev book? No. Not sure what that is. Offhand, what is that? Let me look here. Let me see. What will the new British Prime Minister be like compared to Boris Johnson in supporting Ukraine? Very strong. She's a big supporter of Ukraine. So that should not be a problem. So I am typically live simultaneously. I know I love the Star Trek t-shirt. Live simultaneously on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, you name it. A lot of different places. But the two biggest ones tend to be TikTok and YouTube. But we love our other ones. We love our mighty Twitchers and the rest, nonetheless. What else here, guys? We got another 2 minutes for questions before I call it quits. I know Puck Futin, I might, although that's been done a lot, but I might. That's ridiculous. Putin, I mean, Stephanie's saying the same thing. TikTok does that. TikTok shouldn't do that. That's ridiculous. Yeah, well, yeah, that's not good. I also wonder whether TikTok just, has some glitches, unfortunately. What else we got? My favorite Star Trek character. Probably Data. I am. It used to be Spock, but I empathize with Spock and Data. I don't know why. Ukraine update. Well, let me do the review. I'll do the recap at least. Because that will give you the Ukraine update that we've been doing for a bit anyway here. I've not done my my Harry Potter house, probably Gryffindor. So the Queen Elizabeth, I was telling a joke about Queen Elizabeth meeting Putin. I'll tell the joke again. Not a joke. Apparently it happened. Queen Elizabeth met Putin in 2003, and the British Home Secretary's dog was there and started barking at Putin. And the Queen reportedly responded, "Dogs have interesting instincts, don't they?" I just love that. The battle in southern Ukraine, U.S. sources are saying it could take the rest of the year for the Ukrainians to win back the entire province of Kherson. In eastern Ukraine, the Ukrainians have been having some remarkable success in the last 2 days. They've liberated over 20 settlements. The Russians were unprepared for it in eastern Ukraine. We're talking right around Kharkiv and southeast of Kharkiv. The Russians were not prepared for it. The Ukrainians are taking over now some strategic towns that are putting the Russian war effort in the east at risk. Harvey, I see your question. I'll get to that in a sec. The New York Times says Ukrainian efforts around, right. Just backed up what I was saying, which is some of the key towns the Ukrainians are getting could really hurt the Russian resupply effort. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken is in Kyiv today, the Ukrainian capital. He said that he will notify Congress of an additional $2.6 billion with a B dollars in aid that will go to Ukraine, but also its neighbors. NATO defense ministers met in Germany yesterday. New U.S. aid package for $675 million in just military aid to Ukraine was announced. It's apparently very good. Norway is sending Hellfire missiles to Ukraine. The Zaporizhia nuclear plant continues to be a concern because currently one nuclear plant is now providing all of the power needed for the coolant systems. And if that final reactor goes down or gets cut off, then Ukraine will be relying on backup generators, which is very, very dangerous. Favorite Depeche Mode, Probably Enjoy the Silence, or whatever the title is. Russians are forcibly conscripting men in the Kharkiv area. 3 more collaborators' homes were blown up. Ukrainians who were working for the Russians were blown up in Melitopol. The Poland and the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, are telling the Russians that they are not welcome and they are going to clamp down on Russian visas, even if the other European countries are willing to let the Russians in sort of, unfettered. The Baltic and the Poles are going to fetter. Harvey is asking or commenting, thoughts on reports that captured British man, I did see that, was the last name Paul Yuri, maybe was his name, was tortured by the Russians before execution. If this turns out to be true and other stories similar come out, what would be the international response? If this is a humanitarian aid worker, for starters, gets captured by the Russians, and after a month or two, the Russians say, oh, he died. He had a lot of illnesses, and his illnesses killed him. Well, the Russians released the body. The Ukrainians are saying, so I still would like to see somebody else report on this too, an independent monitor, the Brits, somebody else, the UN. But they're saying that the body shows sign of tortures. It is Paul Yuri, yeah. Or that they're saying it shows sign of torture. If that's the case, I don't know about the international coalition. I think you're going to see the Brits ramp something up. They're going to provide, I don't know what they're going to do, but especially with the new prime minister, I wouldn't be surprised if she tries to shore up some support by providing some kind of new weapons, maybe they get the longer range rockets, although the US wouldn't like it. I'll bet you the Brits would be happy to provide the longer range rockets. So I don't know, Harvey. I think the British government has to do something. They have to do something. There's no way that the British government can let that happen and not do something about it. There is no text on TikTok because TikTok died. So I had to do my backup, like Zaporizhia, my backup launch of TikTok on my iPad, which is why now I've got to do the back and forth again. I can no longer do it on one system and have all the text there. So that's why. It would be a great opportunity if Zelensky were able to go to the Queen's funeral. I agree. I think it's probably not doable, though. It's just too risky for him to leave the country, I think. All right, guys, it's 6:04. I'm going to call it quits as part of my new strategy to not lose my voice again. I've been trying to keep these to an hour. Thank you for joining. Tomorrow, as always, Friday, I will be doing 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern again. And there you go. Have a good night. I don't think, I'm tired. I went last night and hung out on I'm so tired here. I can't even think. I went and hung out on my Discord, but let's skip it tonight. I can hang out again tomorrow night. But thanks, guys. This was good. And as I said, just to remind everybody, next Wednesday, we've got Matt Lewis, who is a Republican who is a very honest, earnest Republican who's critical of Trump, is going to be on. Matt's very interesting to talk about the election, about our democracy, things like that. And then the Wednesday after that, Tuesday after that, excuse me, the 20th, we've got David Frum, who is a longtime good friend of mine. And David's just a fascinating guy. So David will be talking about all the same topics. And David's, Matt's really interesting. David just blows my mind. So didn't mean to have 2 sort of Republicans in a row, but they're both really good. And I think it'll be an interesting discussion. So, and yeah, Zimmer's great. Thomas was amazing. Yeah. So no, I think you'll like these guys too. Matt's very interesting, personable. David is just brilliant and fascinating. Matt is next Wednesday. Let me check here. Matt is next. Oops. Matt is, hello. Where's my, here we go. Matt is Wednesday, 9/14 at 2 p.m. Eastern time US. So keep that in mind. Matt is 9/14 at 2 p.m. Eastern time. David Frum is 9/20 at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And I mean, as we get, I'll keep repeating these so folks know. Maybe I'll even try to put up an earlier thing, you know, so it's up on the list. Anyway, we'll do that. All right, guys. We will talk tomorrow. Thank you for coming and for all the little trials and tribulations on TikTok. I appreciate you guys hanging out and trying. So keep trying there. All right. Bye, guys.